Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot to cover here in this video. We're going to be covering everything from stimulus checks, the stimulus bill, including the $1 trillion physical infrastructure package and the $3.5 trillion social infrastructure package, the unemployment insurance that is expiring, the child tax credit, the food stamps expansion, and of course, the winding down of the war in Afghanistan and what the latest news is with that. We're covering all of that very quickly in this video, so please stick around and like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. My name is Kevin Conway. Now let's get right into it with the very latest. So start with the top, the infrastructure bill and where we stand right now. Well, we know that the Senate passed the $1 trillion physical infrastructure bill. This bill covers everything from roads and bridges and other things such as broadband internet access. It actually passed the Senate with bipartisan support and has moved its way into the House of Representatives. Now, if you're sitting out there and you think, wow, this is really going to move forward very quickly, you are wrong, because of course, everyone has their own political agenda. And right now we know that House Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi has said she's not going to take up the $1 trillion infrastructure bill for passage unless they simultaneously take up the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill also for passage at the same time, coupling the two and the fate of the two together. Now, many people, including those in her own party, including 9 so-called centrist Democrats, are against this proposal. Now, what's exactly going on here? Well, the centrist Democrats say, let's not let a good bill that has already passed the Senate go to waste, especially because it's bipartisan. We need to go through, pass this bill, and send it to President Biden's desk for his signature so that we can show the American people that Congress can actually work. On the other side, the Democrats who aren't in support of that view say, no, we're not going to pass this $1 trillion infrastructure bill right now and lose all of our leverage by actually passing it and not having anything to stand on when we're negotiating for the $3.5 trillion bill to be passed. Now, they want to couple the two together so that they could pass them both and have something much bigger. And it right there is a big risk. Are you going to take all of it, or are you going to take some of it, or none of it? Right now, it seems like it's a high risk proposition. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And that right now is the summary of the infrastructure bill and where we stand on that. Now, moving on to unemployment insurance, we know that President Biden just came out and said he does not support extending the federal boost to unemployment insurance of $300 per week past the September 6th expiration. We know earlier there was discussion amongst those in the Democratic Party about potentially expanding this until we reach a certain threshold of unemployment or we reach a certain threshold of vaccination, one of the two. But right now we know that they are not extending unemployment insurance, the federal boost. So if you're on unemployment insurance, you will not be receiving the extra $300 per week in federal boost. However, we do know that certain states are actually debating whether or not they're going to extend certain provisions of their unemployment insurance, such as the amount of weeks you could take on state unemployment insurance. Typically, it's around 26 weeks, but during the COVID stimulus bills that were passed last year and this year, it was extended all the way until basically 76 weeks or so, depending on your state. A lot of states are talking about keeping that in place for a period of time because they're dealing with a resurge of cases and also higher unemployment rates in certain states. In fact, here's what Janet Yellen said. She said, as President Biden has said, the boost was always intended to be temporary and it is appropriate for that boost to expire. There are some states where it may make sense for unemployed workers to continue receiving additional assistance for a longer period of time. That right there is the opening for states to provide additional benefits. Okay, what about these stimulus checks? We've all been wondering, are we going to receive another stimulus check, a fourth stimulus check? Well, if you're in the following states, whether it be California, Tennessee, Florida, or New Mexico, you don't have to wait for a federal stimulus check to be the next one that you receive. All of those states have already passed individual state stimulus checks depending on your income or your profession. Now, what do I mean? Well, I went in detail on the California stimulus check. Be sure to check out that video that I posted just a few weeks ago. That has all the details you need to know. It's between $600 and $1,200 for a stimulus check if you live in California. If you live in Florida and you're a first responder or a teacher, you will receive a $1,000 stimulus check in the next few weeks. In fact, it could be in the next few days, depending on how your bank is set up with your state. That is $1,000 for first responders or teachers, a pretty good thing. If you're in Tennessee and you're a full-time teacher, you will also receive a $1,000 stimulus check. And if you live in New Mexico, you could receive up to $750 if you make a certain income or below. That right there is also guaranteed. All of those things are guaranteed. They've already been passed right now, so we don't need to wonder if there's going to be a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check will depend on whether or not Congress can pass those other infrastructure bills, but right now it looks very, very unlikely that we're going to be receiving a fourth stimulus check. A few other miscellaneous things. Food stamps have been increased in benefits by the largest percentage ever, over 30% increase in food stamp benefits, and that will equate to, according to the Wall Street Journal, around $850 for the average family of four. A magnificent sum when you compare it to the average amount that the Wall Street Journal reports that most families spend on groceries every month, which is around $550. Now, that food stamp expansion has been put into place and will take effect on October 1st. Now, in other miscellaneous news, as everybody's probably heard about, the debacle in Afghanistan continues to go on, and President Biden just a few hours ago authorized a very obscure law to take effect, which actually compels certain airlines, such as American Airlines or United Airlines or whatever, to provide some of their aircraft as additional passenger ferryways for the U.S. military to use to actually carry some of the refugees from certain other bases to safer areas. They won't be transporting people from Kabul itself, but they will be transporting people from the bases in other parts of the world to other safer areas. So this is very, very interesting that they are enacting this law. They are actually using this law that has been enacted all the way in 1952. It's been used very few times. I actually cannot see any other scenario that I'm aware of where it's been used before. Very interesting how things are happening. We do know that Afghanistan is now going to be controlled by the Taliban. The collapse of Afghanistan into the Taliban hands occurred very, very rapidly over a course of just a few weeks, when the Pentagon thought it could last for 6 months or 9 months or maybe indefinitely under the control of the then government of Afghanistan. Things are changing rapidly. It's very, very interesting out there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.